Really quick, if you haven't seen this episode, the thumbnail that you are seeing on the screen right now with my Omega level commander deck on Meren of Clan Nel Toth, please stop this episode right now and go watch that one first. Because on this episode, this is a break the bank version of that deck. And if you don't watch that episode first, well, this one might not make all that much sense. Because on a Break the Bank, we are taking the budget of that deck and cranking it all the way up to $100. So yeah, if you haven't seen the actual, deck tech on it, well, these additions might not make all that much sense. Regardless, that episode and this one come to you courtesy of Carlos, who's been supporting this channel as a Golden Pig tier patron. And I truly couldn't do this without the support from amazing patrons like Carlos, so again, Carlos, thank you so much. And as a quick recap, Carlos chose Meren of Clan Nel Toth with an infect focus for the deck. Meren is a 3/4 human shaman that costs 2 black-green and says whenever another creature you control dies, you get an experience counter. And at the beginning of your end step, choose target creature card in your graveyard. If that card's converted mana cost is less than or equal to the number of experience counters you have, return to the battlefield, otherwise put it in your hand. So with an infect focus of this deck, our infect creatures are going to keep coming back again and again and again, and yeah, we can take our opponents out very quickly with this. And we can take them out especially quickly with these upgrades. So the first upgrade that we're going to be adding into this deck is Hand of the Praetors. It's a 3/2 with Infect that costs 3 and a black, and it says other creatures you control with Infect get +1/+1. On top of that, whenever you cast a creature spell with Infect, target player gets a poison counter. So first up, a 3/2 with Infect for 4 mana is not bad at all. Again, it only takes 10 poison counters to actually take a player out. Which, of course, with that, Anthem that helps your other infect creatures, that can make them hit even harder and take your opponents out quicker as well. On top of all that, though, every single time you cast a creature spell with Infect, you can just give out a poison counter. So you don't even have to get through in combat to give your opponents poison counters, you can just keep casting them. Though, obviously, you're going to get rid of your opponents quicker when you do get through, but yeah, this helps out in so many ways, and it is a fantastic upgrade for this deck. Next up, though, another incredible upgrade for this deck is Phyrexian Swarmlord. It's a 4/4 that has Infect for 4 green, and it says at the beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 green insect creature token with Infect on the battlefield for each poison counter your opponents have. This is going to get ridiculous in absolutely no time. Again, by getting through with your infect creatures, you give your opponents poison counters, and then with this in play, you are gaining more and more infect creatures on each of your upkeeps. Which then, of course, can get through on your opponents and give them more poison counters, and yeah, this can get out of hand in absolutely no time. Basically, this can kind of just make you an army on its own, and yeah, you already, have an infect army as well, and of course, with Meren, getting this back over and over again can be incredibly detrimental to your opponents, because even when they think they can stop this and stop your army, you just get it back and keep that going. So yeah, an incredible upgrade for this deck. Speaking of which, next up, we've got Skittles. That's right, Skithiryx the Blight Dragon. A 4/4 with flying and infect, and by paying a black, we give it haste, and by paying black, we regenerate it. This is an incredibly deadly infect creature, one that can get through on a lot of players, one that can do so quickly, and one that can be really hard to deal with. And all of this for just 5 mana. Yeah, this is an expensive upgrade, but one that is incredibly impactful in an infect deck like this. And again, like I mentioned before, even if this is dealt with, and again, because you're going to regenerate it is hard to deal with, again, Meren can just get it back. So yeah, good luck opponents when Skittles is coming after them. But now let's move on and talk about yet another flyer that we have with Whispering Spectre. Whispering Spectre is a 1/1 flyer with Infect that says, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, that player discards a card for each poison counter they have. This can really be the nail in the coffin for our opponents. Again, it can be very easy for us to get this through on at least one opponent, and when we do and we sacrifice it, we can just demolish that player's hand. Without that player having a hand, it's going to be hard for them to try to stop us doing whatever we want to do, and yeah, we can easily take them out. Of course, by sacrificing this again, we actually, benefit ourselves by getting experience counter with our commander, and of course, we can just keep getting this back again and again and again to wipe out the next player's hand and then take them out, and yeah, you see where this is going. So yeah, a fantastic upgrade for this Infect deck. Speaking of which, next up we've got Phyrexian Crusader, a 2/2 that has First Strike, protects from red and from white, and Infect. At just 3 mana, this is a very low to the ground creature that can be very hard to deal with. In fact, impossible for certain decks to deal with, really. And yeah, you can just keep getting this through on certain opponents, and they're just going to have to keep taking essentially 1/5 of their life in poison counters. So this is a very deadly upgrade that can make a massive impact in a lot of games. But now let's move on to yet another upgrade with an adorable one with Plague Mirror. Well, at least I think it's adorable. Anyways, it's a 1/1 mirror that costs 2, and it has Infect and tap, add colors to your mana pool. So this is a mana dork that also can be a threat in and of itself, again with that Infect. Again, though this is just a 1/1, it can help us ramp early and often, and of course, even just being a 1/1, it has Infect, so that is a massive, massive, massive amount of damage essentially. Well, okay, not damage, but it's 1 Infect, poison counter essentially, which, obviously is like 1/10 of that player's life total. So this can make a massive impact on its own. And when we just need it to ramp, yeah, it can help us do that too. So yeah, welcome to the team, Plague Mirror. You are a fantastic upgrade. Speaking of which, next up we've got yet another 2-mana artifact with Strionic Resonator. It has pay 2, tap, copy target triggered ability you control. You may choose some targets for the copy. This works really well with our commander. Again, our commander has an end step trigger that's going to get us a creature either back to our hand or right into play, depending on how many experience counters we have. But yeah, most of the time right into play. But yeah, doubling up that for just 2 mana is incredible. Essentially getting an additional creature back out. Yeah, that's going to be worth that 2 mana essentially every time, and this can really help us take over the game very quickly. Our opponents might keep trying to deal with our Infect creatures, but they're going to have to keep doing so again and again and again, and they are going to run out of resources, whereas we will just keep getting our creatures back to just keep sending them at our opponents to whittle them away and take them out. So yeah, Strionic Resonator can provide us an absurd amount of value throughout the game, and yeah, it is definitely a fantastic upgrade to this deck. Another great upgrade, though, is Buried Alive, which is a sorcery for 2 and a black, and it says search life for the 3 creature cards, put them into your graveyard, then shuffle your library. This is a 3 mana, essentially tutor 3 creatures into the place that we actually want them to be, because again, Meren can just get them out for free once we're set up properly. So we can go get our best creatures, again, whether that's, Skittles, or, Hand of the Praetors, or Phyrexian Swarmlord. We can just go get those creatures, put them right into our graveyard, and bring them right into play. Well, you know what I mean. At the end step, we get them into play with Meren. You know what I mean. But still, yeah, a tutor 3 your best creatures out and 3 incredibly deadly creatures out can be a massive spell for this deck. So yeah, Buried Alive, a great upgrade. Moving on, though, another great upgrade for this deck is Swiftfoot Boots. It's an artifact equipment that costs 2, and it says equip creature has Hexproof and Haste, and it's got equip 1. First up, yep, this is a fantastic way to protect our commander again with that Hexproof. Secondly, and perhaps more importantly, in many situations in this deck, this is a great way to protect one of our Infect creatures and to give them haste to let them swing right away at an unsuspecting opponent. So for our opponents, our shields down even for just a second, even for just 1 turn, this can really make a difference and help take them out. So yeah, for all these reasons, Swiftfoot Boots is a great upgrade for this deck. Next up, we're going to be upgrading one of our lands with Karn's Bastion. It's a very simple land that can tap for a colorless, and we can pay 4 and tap to proliferate, which of course means that we can choose any number of permanents and our players and give each another kind of counter already there, which of course includes poison counters, so yeah. Now one of our lands can help us take our opponents out, and that is just fantastic. And then our final upgrade is going to be High Market, which can tap for a color, so we can tap it to sacrifice a creature to gain 1 life. This can be a great way to get more experience counters and also to really use and abuse ETBs and LTBs. Because again, by sacrificing a creature, we can just get that creature back with our commander to use and abuse that again. On top of getting those experience counters, and yeah, this just taking up a land slot is fantastic, so it is a great upgrade for this deck. But now that we've talked about the cards that we're upgrading in this deck, let's talk about the cards that we're taking out for them. And the cards that we're going to remove from this deck are Promise of Power, Blight Widow, Toxic Nim, Spine Biter, Pestilent Soul Eater, Vector Asp, Carrion Call, Contagious Nim, Diligent Farmhand, Forest, and a Swamp. And like I say on all these Break the Banks, just because we are taking these cards out does not mean that they are bad cards. It just means that our upgrades are going to be more effective. So yeah, I mean, when we're adding cards into a deck, we need to take some out. So these are the cards that we are taking out for this one. And now that we've talked about every single card that we're adding in and every single card that we're taking out, let's talk about the price. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, with our upgraded deck, we take that budget all the way up to $100, and we're coming in just underneath that at $99.86 with that estimated cost. Though, do keep in mind that this cost does include basic lands at 10 cents a piece, so if you've already got those basics, there might be some extra savings there. And speaking of potential savings, you might be able to save even more by buying this deck on TCG Player and utilizing heavily played and damage cards, which of course need a home too. That being said, keep in mind that this estimated cost does not include the cost of shipping, which might vary depending upon where you live. And with that, this show is coming to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts on this episode are, and as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.